procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow. Using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Hello, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Today, my folks, we're going to have a great show. We got a very special guest on the show today, a man who's done a lot in the IT world for small business. So, Crystal, we'll let you do the introduction later, okay?
All righty. So welcome, everyone. Glad to be here. I was just telling Gilbert I had a little technical difficulties, all about technology, which is our conversation today, is sometimes technology does not work in your favor. So about 3 seconds before 10 minutes before we were to go on air, the computer shut down. And so I was trying to get it back up and it was a little stressful, but we're here.
Yes, we are.
So Gilbert, how are you and how has your week been?
Oh man, it's been phenomenal. I got so many things going on. I'm trying to catch up on my work with my small business clients. I'm working on business plans, working on getting them ready, their back office ready, and just trying to make sure that what happened with the COVID thing doesn't happen to them again. So we want to make sure that business continuity and disaster recovery program works for them this time.
Well, yes, and there was a lot for everyone to learn on one. Just getting on Zoom was just amazing for most people, and feeling comfortable in front of the camera where they were conducting their business. Some people haven't even quite got there yet, but and figure out how to communicate with their customers and stay connected. So that's what we're going to talk to our guest today, Mr. Carlos Garcia, on how to stay connected. But here's the thing: who in the heck knows when we're going to go back?
That's the thing.
I don't know what a normal is. I don't think there is going to be a normal. But when do we go back? Because they're getting ready. Newsom was shutting down everything yesterday. Everything.
Yeah. So. And that's why, as small business owners, we got to be flexible. I think of all the business entities, small businesses and entrepreneurs, we're the ones who are most flexible because we've got the most pressure being put on us. We've got the most restrictions. We've got all these directives that we have to follow. So we gotta be like Jello. We got to be able to move and navigate and do all kinds of stuff, It's crazy.
Yeah, we do, because you never know. I was at a business and the other day, and it was a beauty supply store, and then it was a nail store in the back. And one of the ladies, she had just heard on the news that they were talking about shutting things down again. And she's like, "Oh no, I just got back to work." I mean, one thing I felt she was like, "Oh, just break out into tears." And so, it's a scary thing because some people haven't received their unemployment. They applied back in March or April, and they still haven't received it. And I don't even know how people are surviving, and things that, because they thought we'd be back to work by now or be back to whatever the new norm is going to be, that so certain things like the forbearance on not paying your rent and things like that all came to a halt at the end of the month. And so now these people, and then the elite in Washington seems to think that the economy is just on its way back with a roaring bang.
They have no clue. They have no clue at all. They have no clue. And here's a misnomer out there, Crystal. Because millions of people return to work, they're counting that as new employment. That's not new employment. That's people returning to work. So they're not supposed to be taking credit for that, acting like they're creating jobs. Those are not jobs being created. Those are existing jobs that people are returning to.
And on top of that, they're not really, the businesses are not making money.
No,
Forget the
no.
fact that they only brought the people back because they got the PPP money.
Yeah.
And they were kind of forced to do that in order to get the forgiveness.
Yeah.
But the business itself is not making any money because the customers are not back.
Right, right. And again,
So
you know,
it's like, what planet are you living on?
it's crazy, man. It is crazy. And one of the things that I would like
Yeah.
to, one of the points that I'd like to raise once again, I think I did it on the last show, but I'd like to do it once again because I need people to understand that all this fluff that they're hearing is not really, it's not really legitimate. 441,000, or I should say 440,000 small businesses have gone bankrupt since February because of this COVID. 440,000, that's 41% of Black businesses being shut down. You see what I'm saying? So I want them to understand that
Right.
what we're trying to do here, we're just trying to help businesses get sustained so that they can take care of their employees and take care of their family. You know, and that's really what we're trying to do.
Exactly.
Yes, it's unbelievable. So those clowns in Washington, they have no clue about what's going on with small business.
No, they really, really don't. And you know, for a lot of people have been surviving because of, you know, the unemployment money is not a lot, but with the $600, that was very beneficial. And they are definitely 100% sure that they're not going to extend that $600 where for those that are on unemployment, so that they can live, because that's how they pay the rent, that's how they eat. It's just crazy. It's insane. And then, you know, the man in the White House is going to have a fireworks show at Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
In the middle of the forest where you're not supposed to have fireworks. So he gonna have fireworks tomorrow. It's just like, I think we're living in a parallel universe. That's what we're doing.
Well, you know, when I was a kid growing up, my mom used to say this to us. You know, she used to say, you know, whenever we're not behaving ourselves, right? You know, old folks, they always have these parables that they say. She said, the higher a monkey climb a tree is the more they expose themselves, right? So, so I never knew what that meant, right? But think about it. When a monkey climbs up a tree, right, you get to see everything, right?
Right.
So the more they expose themselves. Well, that's what's going on there in Washington. The more
we're actually seeing everything right now.
Yeah, the more they do these stupid things, is the more they're exposing themselves that they're very incompetent. They have no clue what small businesses are about. They have no clue what people who are trying to work to take care of their family are really all about. So let them keep doing those things because it's only going to hurt them in the long run.
Yeah, well, I think it is hurting him. The polls are down, and it's becoming. He recognizes that he may not be reelected, so that of course that means that they're going to have to go into some dirty tactics.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things this week, because this has been in the news, and you know, now we're focusing on the election, which is really, really important, right? So I found some interesting, somebody sent this to me. I'm going to share this. And so before we bring Carlos on, I think it's worth a conversation. So in 2000, when did Trump, was it 2016, 2016, right? So Trump won in Florida by, and this is basically about why we have to vote, right? So he won in Florida by 113,000 votes, but in Miami, 379,000 Black people did not vote.
Wow.
And then in Michigan, he won by 11,000 votes, but 277,000 Blacks didn't vote. In Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, 44. He won Pennsylvania by 44,000 votes, but 238,000 Black people didn't vote. And in Georgia, he won by 211,000 votes, but in Atlanta, 530,000 Black people didn't vote. And that's not counting anybody else didn't vote.
Wow.
So that's just particularly on us.
Wow.
So even though they stole the election and the Electoral College, that went down, it still meant that over a million people. Yeah, over a million people did not vote.
I just need to have
that's just African Americans. I'm not counting Latinos and Hispanics that didn't vote, or even some of the whites that didn't vote. That's just particularly about us.
Right. I'm just hoping that we can have someone who understands leadership with a vision, who can really guide the country and guide small businesses, to some level of prosperity. I mean, we don't expect them to really feed us or, give us what we need, but just empower us, give us some opportunities so we can go after it. We can take care of it ourselves. I mean, we're small businesses. We're resilient. We're strong. We're firm. We're relentless. We're creative. We're innovative. We make things happen. So just, put us in an environment so we can do it. That's all.
At this point, Gilbert, a 10-year-old could do better.
Exactly. Exactly.
I will take a 10-year-old, but I'll take Biden. Anybody can do better than where we are right now.
I hear you.
Anybody.
I hear you, man.
Hey, LaRon. LaRon is saying hello to us.
Hey, LaRon, how you doing? Thank you for tuning in.
But yeah, I'll take anybody. So we're going to take a quick little station break and tell everyone to make sure they subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yes.
Next week, Gilbert, July 8th, we will have been on the air for 4 years.
Yes.
So in honor of that, we are requesting from all of our wonderful loyal listeners to make sure they subscribe to our channel. The subscription button is you can go to our website. You can go to YouTube specifically at the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert, and please subscribe. So we have a great offer for you. Once you subscribe, Gilbert and I are going to provide you with some great gifts. And we're trying to reach, what did I say, 1,000 new subscribers?
1,000 small businesses or subscriber. It doesn't matter as long as you're entrepreneurial.
Subscribers. And then we want you to share and then at that point reach out to us, and I have a 45-minute complimentary consulting package for you. And then Gilbert, you're gonna keep yours to the best until they subscribe.
Yeah, well, I want to tease them a little bit. If you want to be certified, you want to be certified with the City of Los Angeles, I will help each and every one of you guys with that certification with the City of Los Angeles. It's called a Small and Local Business Certification. So that's what I'm going to do for all of you guys. I'll guide you. I'll help you with the packaging of it. So that's what we'll do for you. But make sure you subscribe when we get to that 1,000. We don't get to 1,000, can't help you. So you gotta get us to that 1,000.
Right. We can't help you if you don't help us get there, because this is important to us, and we've been on the air for a while, and I think we bring value. In fact, there was a couple of recommendations that came in today, and they thought that our show was absolutely wonderful. I found it was populated in our comment feed. So I think you guys like us.
Excellent.
Carlos says congratulations.
And just so you know, this is just like having your own personal business coach. That's what we're doing for you. We're providing you business coaching and mentoring services. You don't even have to pay for it. That's what Crystal and I are doing for you. So if you want to learn anything within the bookkeeping or accounting space, that's Crystal. If you want to learn anything within your infrastructure, your certification, setting up your business, getting you organized, that is me. So you want to check it out. And again, I'll put my number up on the screen. It's 888-882-1168.
Hold on, let me put it down.
882-1168. So 888-882-1168.
1168.
That's my number. You can reach me there at any time, and we'll be happy to help you. And Crystal, you
All
want to put
right.
your number up there as well?
I will. So my contact information is 323-447-7272. And you can email me at cmitchell544@gmail.com. And I will put that up there as well. So guess what, Gilbert?
What?
A long-awaited Biz Camp is here on Monday.
All right. Congratulations.
Yeah,
Excellent.
so it's going to be fun. We're looking forward.
I think you should tell our audience a little bit about the Biz Camp, Crystal, and how it helped the youth to become entrepreneurs.
So Biz Camp is a summer program that I've been doing. I'm a consultant for the Los Angeles Urban League, and this is a program of the Los Angeles Urban League and myself. And there's a team of us: Rhonda Holbert, and Bonnie Jeter Thomas at the Urban League. We are the team on the ground for the Biz Camp. And so the Biz Camp is a program where we teach kids how to become entrepreneurs. Normally in our live camp, it is done in 10 days. But because this camp is going to be our very first virtual camp, so we're kind of excited and nervous at the same time. And we have 35 kids, 2 programs. I'm going to be teaching the never before ever thought about being entrepreneurs. Maybe it was a thought. I'm going to be teaching them, and they're going to complete a business plan, and they're going to compete. And then Rhonda is going to be working with our kids that have been in our previous programs, and that's our Biz Institute. And so she's going to be helping move their businesses to the next level. So I am going to be there to start a business, and she's going to be there to move it forward. So, so we're really excited. I have 25 kids. We have 5 interns. We have a host of volunteers. I believe you're going to be one of those volunteers, and you're going to be sharing your knowledge with the kids. And so basically from A to Z, we're going to be teaching them how to create and start everything about business, and then being an entrepreneur. And then they're going to complete a business plan. And then with that, they're going to compete for 500, 700, 750, 500, and 350. And then we pay them a stipend for attending the camp, provided that they do everything that we're requiring of them. So it's going to be fun.
I think
it's a
it's
little
an
different
excellent program.
Kids online.
I think it's an excellent program.
Yeah.
Crystal. And also what I like about it is after they complete this program, then we bring them on the business zone and we interview them. The first, second, and third place winners, they're invited to participate on the business zone, so we can talk to them some more about their business and provide them some coaching and guidance. So I like that. Yes,
we are going to do that. So the kids are really, really excited. I mean, we got some kids that have some fabulous business ideas. And so we're just going to work that out. We even have the controller from the city of Los Angeles going to come in and do a little 20-minute talk to the kids on what a controller does and about money and things like that. So it's gonna be pretty kind of interesting. I got some couple of people that are angel capitalists or angel investors coming out, and goo gobs of people in the finance world. Not too many people in the marketing world, though, which is kind of interesting. That's usually who we get. So anyway, I'll keep you up to date. Next Friday will be day 1, but I will have gone through the full week, and so we'll see what that looks like.
That sounds very good. It sounds very good, and I'm very excited about joining you to help those youth, those young ones to become entrepreneurs and provide them with some guidance. And just from our experience, Crystal, I realize that many of these youth entrepreneurs, they've performed much better than some of my adult entrepreneurs, and it's just so amazing. I really would love for some of my adult entrepreneurs to really check out your class and see how these youth are performing. So with that
Well, you
being
know,
said,
with young people,
go ahead.
with young people, they don't get caught up in what they can't do. I mean,
Right.
remember, kids are everything is just is
Everything
brand
is
new
possible.
for them, right?
Everything is
And what
possible.
I have found, everything is possible. And what I have found out about our adults, you know, they talk themselves out of a lot of stuff versus, you know,
Yeah.
moving forward with their dreams.
Yeah.
So that's what I found. And I'm sure Carlos, when he comes on, he's going to say the same thing. Most of the time, we talk ourselves out of it. We're like, well, we can't do this. Or we listen to somebody else that says what you can and cannot do.
Right. So that's when analysis paralysis steps in.
Is that your word?
Yeah, analysis paralysis. So they analyze, they overanalyze, and because of that, it creates a state of paralysis, so they can't move.
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. We talk ourselves out. Next thing we know, the blessing is gone on down to the wayside, and we still trying to figure out how we lost the blessing.
Yeah, that's it. So
after God did the boat, the ship, the raft, the airplane.
hopefully our next guest, when he comes on, he can share some of his expertise in the IT world as to how to simplify that process and make many of the adult entrepreneurs think in a more fluid and positive way. So it's all yours, Crystal. Go ahead and introduce our next guest.
All right. Okay, so with that, we're going to bring on our guest, Mr. Carlos. Mr. Carlos Garcia. And so let me bring him on in. He's been waiting in our virtual green room.
Hey, Carlos.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. I love your office. I love the look.
Fine. How are you?
Oh, thanks. Just trying to keep it very simple, just like my style, my life, and my business, right? Simple is good.
That's good.
Well, welcome. We're glad to have you. So I'm going to tell everybody a little bit about Carlos. Gilbert and I have some history with Carlos. Actually, I did a program with Mount SAC, and I taught the QuickBooks and the accounting program, and he taught the tools, Excel, right, Carlos?
Yep. That's correct.
And he taught that program, and actually quite a successful program. I'm very proud of that program. We had like a 95% higher rate for the young adults that were participating in that program. So that was a pretty proud project that I worked on. I'm sorry that it kind of came to an end with, I guess it was funding, but I thought it was really a well worth program. So with that, Carlos is the CEO and CTO of his own company called F.I.Y. Technologies. His company has helped many businesses and educational institutions achieve next levels in technology. His background includes serving education for the past 20 years as a seasoned technology professional, director with exceptional leadership, analytical communication, and organizational skills. He holds a bachelor's degree in informational technology, as well as a master's degree in educational technology from Pepperdine University. And he currently holds a CTE teaching credential from the University of San Diego. So over the 20 years, and he has 20 years of experience in both education and private industry. Welcome, Carlos. We're so happy to have you and honored that you are here to help our small businesses move to that next level in an area that they seem to come kicking and screaming, which is technology. and what's so funny is how long has technology been here?
Right. This is the original word processor, right? It was a pain in the ass.
Right, exactly. So people are still resisting technology after let me see. I started working in 80. I think my first corporate job was in 78, 79, somewhere like that. And we had the computer with the green, whatever that was, the green screen and the green writing and the text.
The original green screen box. For sure.
Yeah. So that was the very first computer. Yeah, so that was the original green screen. And so that was hundreds of years ago. I know I look good, huh? But hundreds of years ago.
I want to know what you're taking.
But people are still resisting it. So today's topic is embracing technology now or never. And right now, after COVID, is actually right now. It is no screaming, no trying to run away from it. It is what it is. So, Carlos, enlighten us on how we can bring our people to the 21st century and really should be using, and why they should be using technology and how important it is to their business.
Yeah, and first of all, let me just say thank you to both of you guys. It is an honor and a pleasure, privilege to be here with you both on your amazing business. And congratulations, 4 years. That's an awesome milestone as well, too. So way to go, you guys. You're inspiring me to keep that same momentum in my life as well, too. So thank you. Appreciate that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, I could share with you guys, I mean, we could sit here for hours and talking about the do's and don'ts of technology, folks that I've seen over the years, as far as that fear of technology. One area that I can just quickly share with you is that, in education, we all know that a lot of the seasoned professionals tend to be more the shy ones when it comes to technology. And as the technology moves, because kids tend to adapt so well, they become really more intimidated and afraid by it. A perfect example, do you remember when the iPods first came out, right? Yeah. Everybody in education was anti-iPod, anti-this. No, I don't want it in the classroom. And then it finally realized that, wait a minute, we can actually do lesson plans, have these guys listen to it and not have to, worry about it. So they embraced it. And I think part of the issue that a lot of folks, like you mentioned, are having now and even back then, and even now continue to do so, is that fear that, well, if I touch this or I do something wrong, I may break it, and I don't want to do that. One of the key things that I teach my folks that I work with is that it doesn't matter if you think you're going to break it, as long as you're trying. That's all that really matters. Then you have someone like me, someone like you guys that they can call up and say, "Hey, I'm having an issue. Can you help me with it?" Take care of it, and you move on. But it takes away a little bit of that fear from them as well too. So that's been very important. Yeah, the other piece, right?
When they were,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. The other piece was, remember when the LA Unified got the laptops? Was it the iPads or the iPads? Yeah. And the teachers were absolutely just against it. In fact, I was dating somebody at the time, and he was just so upset that he had to learn how to use a computer. And I'm like, are you kidding?
No, you're absolutely right. Now, let's fast forward to this whole mess that we're in with COVID, right? So in the last several months, a lot of businesses that never thought that they would have to close the doors and work remotely from home were scrambling. I had lots of clients that were not used to, how am I going to do this? And I tell folks, Zoom and online video platforms like what we're doing now have been around for a long time. It's not like it's something new. It's not a new technology. I mean, you remember back even in the AOL days when they were trying to do some of this stuff as well too. But it's a matter that certain folks will migrate easily to technology, and other folks, because you don't really need it, you don't really pay attention to it. And we're all guilty of that. You know, the less you use it, the less it's like riding a bike, right? The more you do it, the easier it becomes, just like anything else. And I think it was really just a tech shock for a lot of businesses, because how am I going to function? Like the whole concept of being out of the office, collaborating with one another wasn't there. You know, I'm sure a lot of your folks experienced the same thing as well too.
Oh yeah, most of my people. And for me, I had already had made a commitment that in 2020 that pretty much everything I was going to be doing was online. So it wasn't a shift for me. It was just what I was already doing. I was getting ready to move all my classes to an online platform, still am. But of course we were doing the show already. So, but yes, most of my clients struggle and still are struggling as to how to reach out to their clientele. And then the other part is they don't even have accessibility to them. Like they didn't grow their Facebook pages. They didn't grow any of their social media platforms. So they would even have an outlet to speak to their customers, to let them know, yes, I'm still in business. So consequently, we have what we have now.
Yeah, and that lack of communication, I think it's the key right now. Why still to this moment, a lot of businesses are struggling, because one moment they're open. Right now, as you know, with the new thing that passed is closing everything back down. But that lack of communication, you don't know who's open, what you can do. Can I pick up food from here? And I'm going to let's talk a little bit about the restaurants, because those are the ones that seem to be hit the most and really, really heavy. When this first started, a lot of them wanted to stay afloat, and a lot of them had to close because they didn't know, okay, how is this going to function and so forth. But I think like you hit it in the marketing aspect of it. In my world, some of the folks that I've helped throughout of this is that communication piece. Okay, look, the law has just changed. This is what's implemented. This is how we're going to address it. Steps 1, 2, and 3. We keep the momentum going. You just, you get the information, you adjust, and then you move forward with it too. And sometimes that's hard for a lot of folks because you've got so many things that you're worried about. And for what I see, marketing is usually the last thing that it's on your mind. It's the last thing you think of, and it should be one of the first things you should consider, because that's how you get the information disseminated a lot quicker too.
Now, Carlos, from an IT standpoint, what are some of the things that you think these small businesses should be thinking in terms of IT, how to pivot, in this day of COVID? Because many of the small businesses, they applied for the PPP loan, but they didn't have all their documents. They didn't have everything ready because they weren't prepared. They didn't know what they need to have. So, if you can talk to them a little bit about how being prepared online and digitally, how that can help them to make their life easier.
Well, first of all, I'm going to start by saying if you need help with the paperwork and all that, that's the man for you right there. SmallBizPro, right? You need to talk to him regarding some of that. That's who I go to personally. So if I have a question, that's what I definitely go for. Some of the key things that I think as a business you need to really be careful and start creating a little list, for example, is you want to find out ways that you can collaborate with your team. Communication, we said, is very important. So are you going to communicate through text? Are you going to be communicating through email, through Zoom, whatever it is? Make sure that you're there. You have that set up as well too. The other thing is that make sure that your folks, if they're going to be working from home, whether it's their home computer or you're providing machines for them to take home, laptops, make sure that they're all secured. And what I mean by that, make sure that their antiviruses are in place. Make sure that their malware there's malware programs in place. Nowadays it used to be that it was simple enough. Well, I shouldn't say simple, but viruses was the only real thing that we had to worry about. Now there's malwares, there's hacking opportunities. So if you're not secured, if you're, I always say this in my workshops and lectures, the first question I always ask is, how many of you guys have changed your password since your router was installed? And most, I would say about 92% of the folks out there, right, even before they started changing, they don't even know where to start with that, right? So they forget that that's one of the things that somebody else has that access. They don't know, or they're too afraid to change that. And you'll be surprised how many people, like I said, it may be about 5% that actually know to change that as well too. The other question I have that comes up, especially even more so importantly now, is how often are you reusing your passwords? So I always raise the questions. How many of you guys are utilizing the same passwords for 2 accounts? 3, 4, 5, and then you go up above 10. So what happens if you get hacked? Now, if I start going through all of this with just one password, you're done. And then they wonder like, oh, well, what happened? And it's I know it's a lot to kind of manage, but there's different avenues or software that can help you with that. So for me, for example, I have over 1,000 passwords, and I'm not saying this to brag. I don't remember that. I can never, I barely remember, I barely remember the keys to my car sometimes when I'm going out the door. But there's password protection programs out there that can also generate very long keywords or algorithms that can make your passwords safe. For me, I will range passwords anywhere between 20 and 40 characters long. It sounds crazy, but that's more than likely. You're less likely to hack me because of a password like that. It's a combination of me doing an eight keyword password. I will tell you that there's a lot of businesses that I've taken over where I walked in and I've asked for the password for their Wi-Fi. And, a lot of them, the secretary has it right on their computer screen, right? Or I'll ask them, what is the login for your computer? And it's right there on a Post-it note, right? And
it's all over the place.
And sometimes it's as simple as, what's your password? 1, 2, 3, 4. And it's right there on the Post-it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, right? So it's one of those things that you just read sometimes. But
amazing.
I've got a lot of stories I could share with you guys. But to get back to it, just make sure that your folks that are out in the field or working remotely are protected through, the antivirus programs. Make sure that if you're working from home and you have a business, make sure that you're also checking your web provider, because a lot of folks are paying for high-speed internet right now, and they're maybe getting a fraction of it. So you're overspending and you're not getting what you're paying for. Mm-hmm. So those are some key things that you need to watch out for. Other things,
if you don't mind, Carlos, I can step in right there, and I can attest to that because I was on a dinosaur computer, before, and it was so slow, and my web signal, my internet signal was so low. I called Carlos. I said, Carlos, help me. So what Carlos did, he did an analysis, and maybe you can talk about that too, Carlos. Carlos did an analysis where he did it remotely from his office. I didn't have to go over there. He didn't have to come to my office, and he was able to check out my system and see what was wrong, what was going on. And one of his recommendation was, hey, your router is too slow. You need to get a better speed, a more current one, because the one I had was like 5 years old. I got it through Spectrum to the cable company. So, and again, when they sell you stuff, they're not selling you top of the line. They're selling you like the lowest level. So the quality is going to be low. So I went out and, I went to Amazon and I purchased one online, and it was amazing. My speed went up. Plus, I got a new computer, Carlos. So,
all right.
Got a new computer. So I just set it up like 3 days ago. So I'm good to go now. So I'm quick. So thank you, Carlos.
and I personally don't know how you use a slow dinosaur, because I would have lost my mind. My computer, when I'm thinking it needs to be already processing it.
Hey, Crystal, just to let you know, a couple of weeks ago when I was talking to him regarding his computer, this used to be black hair. Now it's all white thanks to him and his old computer.
I believe
totally
you.
Kidding. I love you, man. I'm totally kidding.
That's amazing.
But here's the thing, Carlos. He uses his computer as much as I use mine. So for me, I don't have a lot of, you don't have, you're self-employed, so, and you're a consultant, right? So you really kind of have office will travel. So I invested quite a bit into my computer, and I don't even understand, because that's the only tool that I really truly use is my computer and my hotspot and my router. But I'm like, dude.
So I learned, man. I learned that I got to stay current, and I got to make sure I check my password. I got to make sure that I check my router to make sure it's the most recent, because those routers, they change them like what, every 6 months, a year or so. So you got to be current, man. And right now I'm using a very nice, powerful one. So thank you, Carlos. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. And I think, one of the things that we talked about is you were going to see the difference once you switched over computers and you switched that in. And obviously that's a testimony, which also brings up a very good point. If you guys in business are utilizing routers that are given by your ISP provider, think about changing over to something better, because it does cut down on speed. And I'm not going to, put somebody on the spot with names of companies, but just as a general rule, there's no point in you leasing a router when you can buy your own. And there's some really good, efficient routers out there. For the most part, a very good router will last you several years. It's not like you have to constantly be changing them over. But once you get, it's the old saying, right? You get what you pay for. If you want to save money and buy a cheap router, then don't expect to get great things or great speeds from that, because at the end of the day, it just doesn't work that way. The same thing when we talk about computers, desktops for your business and your work, right? You may want to save a buck here and there, but the reality is, don't think of the immediate, band-aid for the issue. Think of the long term, right? How long am I going to be able to get out of this computer? So for me, for example, I use Macs a lot, and I've used Macs forever and ever. And the only reason I've ever had to change my laptops is because it reaches the point where I cannot upgrade the operating system. But other than that, I still have all my Macs, and I mean, they're in pristine condition. And that's been the only reason why I've had to been forced to change it after six, I think it's usually 6-7 years. Then I can upgrade the operating system, which is, it's also time for a new system anyway. But it gives you, that's what you have to think about. You may spend more upfront, but it's priceless how much less headaches you're going to have in the long run as well too. So that's also something else to consider.
And Carlos, if you don't mind, can you tell the audience also about your podcast that you have? You've got a podcast that you do weekly on IT stuff and computer. So if you don't mind sharing that with the audience.
Yeah, I actually have F.Y.I. Live, which I am hoping and crossing, and no pressure, that these two amazing people will come on my show about business zone and what they do. So I'm looking forward to that. What I use my F.Y.I. Live podcast and video cast from is usually I like to focus on good businesses and spotlight them. Specifically, if you're doing great things for the community or you're giving back, I think that you need to be under the spotlight. And for me, that's very important. It's part of giving back to the community. There's no charge to come on our show. But for me, it's important that you are a respected business, that you're doing great things for folks. You have that servant heart that's willing to help, like you both do. And that's one of the things that I always look for when I have guests. I don't have guests just on there because they're selling something. I don't like that. I've never been one, even in my business, that sells anything. If you ever follow me on social media, you'll never really see any advertisements. Very rare. It maybe I'm having a special or something to look at, but for the most part, I like to inspire folks, and I like folks to inspire me. So that's what I like to surround myself with.
Well, Carlos doesn't like to sell his company, but I'll sell his company for him. So his company is called F.Y.I. Technologies. F.Y.I. Technologies, like F.Y.I. Technologies. And if you want to learn more about his company, go to YouTube and type in F.Y.I. Technology. You'll see a video on it. Or you could go to my site, the buchanangroup.net, and go to Teaming Partners. And on the Teaming Partners, there's his logo there. You click on it, takes you right to his website. So F.Y.I. Technologies, check him out.
I appreciate that. And also what I wanted to share with you, because you guys have been very supportive, both of you. I want to make sure that your viewers can benefit from it too. So if any of your viewers are watching, I'll take the first 5 folks and give them a free marketing and tech analysis for their business. It's normally a $3.99 value on there. For the first 5 folks that you guys get a hold of, I'd be willing to do it for free, as my way of saying thanks to you guys and your viewers as well too.
All right, sounds good. And Carlos, guess what?
Carlos.
Guess what?
And
you got. Go ahead, Crystal. I'm sorry.
I said, and we're actually kind of happy, honored, because Carlos is going to pop in a couple times a month and share some technology tips with our audience, and then so that we can get a cross pollination of both of our audiences. Because Gilbert and I also feel the exact same way that you do, that we're here to service the businesses, the small businesses in our community. And because they are small or micro businesses, really what they are, they don't really have access to all that is out there. And they're so busy working in their business that they don't even know what's happening on the outside. So this is the purpose of our show, is to make sure that we bring the information to you. And even if you're not able to watch it virtually, like right now, it's still always there in our YouTube channel, so you can go out and check it out there. And as well as I do a lot of boosting of the show and really marketing it all over. So because we really want you to get the information, and we really want you to have access to the experts that we bring on, because if they're here on this show, it's because they're the best at what they do. Because that's what we're bringing to you, is the best. And what Carlos does is really important. And something you said, Carlos, that was really important a few minutes ago, because most people go out and go, oh, I'm going to spend the cheapest, whatever the cheapest I can spend on a computer. That's what they say. Computer falls apart and they go out and pick up something for $200. Well, $200 computer is not going to really run the way you need it to run, when everything we do, every software requires just goo gobs of memory and just to function. And so it really shortens their predictability if they can't do what they need to do. I mean, I use my computers and I burn out motherboards and everything. When I'm done with them, that poor little baby, it can't even peek. It had been back and forth to the shop, and it's like, okay, time for a new one. It's done. There is no rise out of it at all when I'm done.
So before I forget, and this is the marketing person in me thinking about, I'm going to have a shirt with the new hashtag for you with the word goo gobs. That's my new favorite word. I will have to use that for sure.
I love it. I love it.
Goo gobs, goo
gobs. That's it. Yeah, I love that.
I love it.
My technical term.
There you go. I'm gonna have to borrow that hashtag. I'm telling
you. Carlos,
you're welcome to it.
Yeah, Carlos, I know you're a phenomenal person, man. And like I say, I've known you for a while. I've seen the work you do. And I can't wait for some of these small businesses to start taking advantage of what you do. I mean, I've been taking advantage. As a matter of fact, I got a job for you. So after this is over, man, we'll get on the phone and we'll talk about what
Sure.
we can have you do here. So thank you so much for the great things you've been doing. So go ahead and share what you
I think and I just wanted to leave you guys with also some actually state of report from 2020, and this was actually created by Buffer. And one of the questions that they asked out there was, what's the biggest struggle you're having with working remotely? And I think this can apply to a lot of folks right now.
Yeah.
And I would say that leading the top three was actually 20% said they were struggling with collaboration and communication. Next one in line was loneliness, tied with that same one. And also folks then not being able to unplug, right? There's a lot of distractions from home. And if you notice, obviously you guys have, because you're constantly doing this, but before, when you were in a regular 9-to-5 job in your office, meetings were called and you were in, out, and so forth. Well, a lot of folks have really gotten really Zoom happy and Zoom crazy, where they're just doing meeting after meeting after meeting. And sometimes they don't know where to draw the line, right? Family time is usually after 6 o'clock. And these guys are steady meeting 7, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And it's like, nobody works 24/7. You know what I mean? And that's something, as a business owner, you also need to be very conscientious of your employees, because you don't want to burn them out as well too.
Right. That's a good point. That's a very good point, Carlos.
That is an excellent point, because we're not in formalized business offices. That the boundaries have been crossed, and then they get a little angry with you when you don't answer the phone after 6 o'clock. Like, no, I'm not answering the phone after 6. Or somebody will call and go like, oh no, if I answer that, they gonna think that is carte blanche. No, tomorrow morning. And they get a little tiffy with you, like. And I've had people call me on Sunday morning. Why are you calling me on Sunday to talk about business? Really?
I have a friend of mine that says if you call after 6, somebody's better be dead, right? So for sure.
Exactly.
I like
And
it.
you can get Zoom fatigue. When we were doing interviewing for the kids for Biz Camp, my partner and I, Rhonda, we were doing back-to-back 30-minute interviews with over 35 kids plus volunteers. And so somewhere after that, one of my friends reached out to me and she says, Crystal, let's do a Zoom brunch. No, let's not. At that point, Zoom is to me a tool and nothing fun about being on Zoom for pleasure. That's just me because I'm on it 24/7.
No, it's true.
And it is exhausting. It is very exhausting to be on Zoom all day long.
Yeah. So Gilbert and Crystal, like I said, it's anything that, folks may have questions on. I'll be more than happy to help out any way I can. I appreciate you guys taking the time to get me on here, and definitely, folks, just be aware of what's out there. Our company motto is, if technology makes you cry, call F.Y.I. And I really, if you guys are stuck, reach out definitely, for Small Business Pro to Crystal as well too. They can point you to the right direction, and that's really a very valuable resource. If you guys aren't following them, you guys better. I mean, that's the first thing you guys should put on your list for sure.
Perfect.
So, Carlos, let me ask you this question: are you? I know you taught Excel with the schools. Do you do workshops or classes or online classes in that space as well? Because I know there are a lot of small business owners that I know that don't know how to use Excel or even Word for that matter. But are you doing that, or do you farm that out to someone?
No, actually, I'm still doing that. I have a lot of business owners that, because they have to do things now remotely from home, that I'll do one-on-one training. It's almost like one-on-one tutoring directly online, but I'm open to doing group workshops as well to teach some of this. And that's actually something that we're going to start doing for Staples as well too. But this whole thing happened, and that's been put on hold as well too. So that's definitely something that I have. It's in the works already. And I'll put out a little bit more information on those particular workshops for folks to join. And I'm always available to do one-on-one training with folks that want to learn a little bit more as well too.
That's fantastic. In August, I'm gonna do a program. My background is obviously accounting, and I'm evolving my business to a different platform. But what I'm gonna do is the trainer is going to train trainers to become bookkeepers, just like the program that I was doing at Mount SAC. But I'm going to do that for individuals to create their own side hustle, and so I would love to have you part of that.
Sure,
that course, because Excel goes hand in hand with QuickBooks, and that was the best part of what we did, right? Because I could show them the technical software of the accounting software, and then you could help them with the Excel. That way they fully understood the reports when I got to explaining what reports are and how you can customize them. But without what you were teaching them, they would not have been able to do that.
Yeah, and vice versa. And I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of our students from that cohort that actually we ended up creating, because I taught them a little bit of social media to market themselves on LinkedIn as well. So they follow me on that. And to this day, they still talk about you and I and what a great class that was, and wish that it was back on again. So I don't know if you were aware of that, but I wanted to make sure you knew that. You made a great impact on them as well.
Thank you. Yeah, a lot of them are friends. I did the same thing with LinkedIn. A lot of them are following me on LinkedIn. Some of them on Facebook, but they were some very talented, individuals who had not been given opportunities in their past life, and so a lot of them embraced it and just ran with it. So I really enjoyed that whole cohort. It was really fantastic. I think that was a great thing between LSU that was the Los Angeles and Mount SAC. That was a great partnership.
Yeah, and also from that evolved the last 2.5 years I've been teaching for the County Office of Education through that program for their gain. Teaching homeless folks just out of jails and other obstacles that they've had in life, getting them the technical skills so they can get better jobs and all that. So that for me has been a huge blessing and an eye opener to really be part of that journey where they start and where they end and they land jobs. It's just, unless you're in it and working with folks like this who have a heart to really succeed and get out of the system and all that, it's amazing what's out there, but you really don't hear a whole lot of that positive aspect of it, and to be part of it is very humbling and very, just an amazing experience,
Yeah, it was. I have a friend right now working in the re-entry program, and he's teaching them how to do digital entrepreneurship and create businesses out of that. So they're building a whole platform. It's a group down in Compton, and so he's pretty jazzed by that. But just being able to create blogs and things like that, and drop shipping and all the aspects of digital entrepreneurship, because that might be the only way they actually will be able to re-enter the world and create their own revenue sources for themselves. Because jobs jobs are going to be difficult, period, after this COVID piece. So.
And I think it's also important to know that business owners, you need to think about the fact that it's not, if your business is ever going to open, it's when it's going to happen, but how are you going to prepare yourself in the next several months to continue floating on board? How are you going to prepare your employees? What kind of trainings are you going to give them to make sure that everybody's collaborating and working at a full 100% capacity? And instead of playing this waiting game, well, what if this? And what if I just hold off on buying this particular piece is going to help my business because we may open in a month? We don't know, right? So it's that guessing game. This is not, when you go back, a lot of businesses right now are talking about a hybrid business where, you'll go in maybe a couple of days a week to the office. Everything else can be done remotely, and that's one of the things that we've seen in the IT world for the longest time. And for me, I'm fortunate that I can do everything within my business remotely for the most part, unless it's something physically that I have to be there. But it allows you to not only be at several places at one time, but also get back to your clients a lot quicker than instead of me, sitting in traffic for 2 hours getting to their site. I can get done in something for them in 5-10 minutes, and there's minimal downtime to that too. So that's something I want to make sure that folks understand, especially the small business folks and that are watching your show too, is start preparing for the unknown. And it's better to over prepare than be under prepared, because then you're running around. It's like, what do I do now? What do I do now? It's like Chicken Little, sky is falling, how am I going to protect myself?
And we don't know when this is going to happen. They're talking a second wave. So if that second wave is, you don't want to be caught off guard. You want to be able to still move forward. I mean, like I said, I don't know about you guys, but I am so busy right now. It's just the days flow all into one because there's so much going on. And whereas there are others that everything just flatlined and they have no idea how to move forward, how to embrace, how to reach back out, or even how to pivot that business to another type of business that might complement what they did, but it will complement it online. And so it's just a matter of opening up our minds and looking at opportunities instead of it just being a problem. What can I create as a solution to this problem, which is what entrepreneurship is all about. Would y'all not agree, Mr. Gilbert?
I totally agree, 100%.
Yeah.
So Carlos, if you don't mind, just giving them your contact information again, how they can get a hold of you, and let's see where we go from here to see if they'll reach out to you or how we can help them. So again, I want to thank you for being on this show, man. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. I appreciate it. And Crystal, if you can type my information, I'll give you guys my number and the website you guys can reach me at. And like I said, your viewers are more than welcome to send me an email or call me if they have any questions. So again, it's my number is 562-413
1413 1413.
Yeah. And my website is www.FYItechnologies.net.
FYI.technologies.net. So wait a minute, let me get the phone number again. 562-413-1413.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow. Okay, you have a number like I have.
Yeah.
Say that 10 times in a row, right?
You're right. I had to say, where am I writing this right? You guys definitely want to reach out to Carlos, because everybody always needs to have a good IT person that they can trust, and that is not going to guide them wrong. Because a lot of times you've had IT people and they've had your equipment and they don't know what they're doing, or the timeliness when you need it, you can't get back. I remember one time my computer crashed right at tax season. I mean, I had clients coming out of my ears and they finally had to give me a loaner because it took them forever to get my computer fixed. Wow. So you don't want that. You want somebody that's reliable and that's going to take good care of you. And so there you go. That's Carlos.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you. Really appreciate you coming on the show. And I'll reach out to you right after the show so we can talk some more, because I got a gig for you. Okay.
Sounds good.
So for those of you who are listening, again, hopefully you've gotten some great information from Carlos on this program. He's going to be back on. Are you going to be next week again, Carlos? We want to get you on.
If you'll have me.
Okay.
You're not tired of me yet?
No, we're not tired of you. So we
want to give Carlos a little corner, like 10 minutes at the end of the show, just to give us some tips that we can carry ourselves through this COVID. So if he's open and game for us, it'll be Carlos' corner, the IT corner.
The IT guy.
The IT guy.
Thank you both.
Yeah, so we're definitely going to do that. And please let us know when you want us to be on your show. Crystal and I will really love to be there to share our information on the Business Zone, so they know what the Business Zone is about,
Absolutely.
what we can do for them. So I just want to give my phone number again, once again, so you guys can reach out to me if you need some help with organizing your business or certification, your infrastructure, or getting you set up for COVID. So it's 888-882-1168. That's 888-882-1168. Or you could just email me at gilbert@thebuchanangroup.net. Now, this show is being broadcast on YouTube and Facebook right now. So if you go to Facebook and you go to the Business Zone, you will see this show. You can play it as many times as you want. If there's any information you missed, you just go back and play the show. Of course, I know you want to see Crystal's beautiful face, so you may play it for that.
And they can also go to our website, Gilbert, at the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. The shows are archived there as well as on YouTube. I will be boosting the show afterwards. But what most important thing we want you to do is go to YouTube and subscribe to us so that we can acquire our 1,000 subscribers by July 31st. If you guys want to be real generous, we can take it up to 2,500 subscribers. But right now, I'm not gonna be greedy. I'm gonna take 1,000 and then I'll work on you guys for the next 2,500, for the next 1,500. So you guys have a very safe 4th of July. Be careful. Wear your mask. I hate it too, but I want to live. So wear your mask. Mm-hmm. Be careful with social distancing. Be careful with socializing party-wise. We just want to get through this. So right now, I think we need to get serious with it, and we just need to do what we need to do and stop being rebellious, but be safe and have a good holiday. And we will see you guys next Friday.
We're out.
Okay, I'm gonna play our kick out outro.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Hey,